I'd like to first thank Frontier Exchange for inviting me to make this spotlight presentation on integrated reporting. There was a time when businesses focused only on profits. In fact, the adage went, the business of business is business. It didn't matter if the environment was degraded or if human rights were violated, as long as the shareholders enjoyed a good return for their investment. It was not beautiful. However, this view was challenged with growing awareness and concerns on social, environmental, and governance aspects within the wider goals of long-term financial stability and sustainable development of markets. While these had their merits, the global call for action also gave the appearance that shareholder primacy was getting diluted. Integrated reporting restores that balance. Integrated reporting looks at shareholder primacy through a multi-stakeholder lens. In the context of value creation in the short, medium, and long term. It goes further by showing the reciprocity or duality of an organization's value creation process for itself and others, and how an integrated communication on strategy, ESG, performance, and prospects leads to improved decision-making by businesses and investors alike. I will explain these in detail shortly. As a broad generalization, it is widely accepted today that the net assets of a business, that is, the total assets minus total liabilities, would typically account only for about 20% of the total value. The balance 80% of the value is hidden. We all know that this figure of 80% is a broad generalization and considerable variance exists between sectors and businesses. Nevertheless, think about it. If 80% or 4/5 of the value of a typical business was represented by the non-financial assets, it would follow that the price-to-book value of a typical business should be a multiple of 5. Let me take a notional company with a market capitalization of approximately $3,500 million and a price-to-book value of 1. Now, yesterday, Dr. Fadi, the Secretary General of the Arab Federation of Stock Exchanges, was telling us at this forum that the vast majority of companies in the MENA region have price-to-book values in the region of around 1. So suppose the investor relations team of this notional company can in some way increase the price-to-book value of this company from 1 to 1.1, shareholders will see their market value appreciating by $350 million. As investor relations professionals, you know that such a task needs a multi-pronged approach. I would argue that central to that multi-pronged approach is integrated reporting. There is a very important concept in integrated reporting that one has to appreciate, and that is the duality of value creation. Integrated reporting captures the value that a business delivers to each of the stakeholder groups. And that's like the sustainability side of the story. Integrated reporting does not stop there. It also looks at how each of the stakeholders in turn become valuable to the business in driving its own future earnings. As a result, in integrated reporting parlance, these stakeholders are treated as forms of capital. So customers would become customer capital, investors would become investor capital, employees would become employee capital, and so on. All these forms of capital are not really owned by the business, but the business has access to them to use and to affect them. So we can say that these forms of capital are forms of external capital, and they are all part of that 80% of the non-financial value of the business. There is another form of capital that goes into making that 80%, and unlike the forms of stakeholder or external capitals, this one is internal to the business, and therefore the business owns it. And it is institutional capital. Things like the business's integrity, ethics, corporate culture, reputation, brands, systems and processes, accumulated knowledge, intellectual property, including patents and copyrights, capacity to innovate, and the like. So there you have the balance 80% of the value of the business. And that's your financial capital, which is the only part represented on the balance sheet. Integrated reporting will give a good story of how the business is identifying, developing, growing, and finally anchoring down all these forms of non-financial capital. If the story is said well, with the right non-financial KPIs, and told consistently from year to year, and told in the context of the changing operating environment, management challenges and strategy, and provided there is a reasonable free float of shares, of course, the business should be able to move the price to book value from 1 to 1.1 without much of a problem. And that's a modest task. Here are a few pages from the first integrated report of the Saudi Investment Bank. This was in fact the first bank in the MENA region to publish an integrated report. It was published 4 weeks ago in English and Arabic and makes good use of both the print and online mediums. Capturing that story of how the business is identifying, developing, growing, and finally anchoring down all these forms of non-financial capital is a journey. And what is most important is to take that first step. I have found that companies, be they in Saudi Arabia, Singapore, or Sri Lanka, as a rule, would consistently start with a great deal of apprehension on the availability of the required information. Our advice has consistently been, just do it. And for those who dare to just do it, the rewards would come in an unexpected way as well. The process of producing an integrated report enables the investor relations team to provide valuable feedback to the business. And that feedback also results in integrated thinking. This is not to say that integrated thinking didn't exist. It does, but it is often tacit. The investor relations team ends up picking the interest of their colleagues in operations, governance, risk management, and even the board. Thus, the investor relations team plays an indirect but pivotal role in institutionalizing integrated thinking. And integrated thinking for those of you who are wondering what it is nothing more or nothing less than having the best interests of all stakeholders at heart. I would like to end this talk by drawing on the similarity between integrated reporting and the pattern in Islamic art. If done well, they are both epitomes of balance, harmony, and infinite interconnectedness. And that's what makes both the pattern in Islamic art and integrated reporting beautiful. So what's the ultimate bottom line of integrated reporting? I would say the bottom line of integrated reporting is corporate beauty, where there is balance between value derived from the different stakeholders and the value delivered to them, where the organization and its stakeholders coexist in harmony, where decisions are made for the greater good in acknowledgement of their impact in a world that is seamlessly interconnected in time and space. Corporate beauty reigns. So lock in corporate beauty with an integrated report that keeps stakeholders attracted to your organization, especially your investors. Thank you.